Hello my friends, and welcome back to Ration Nerd. I really appreciate you taking some time out of your Sunday to spend with this goofball while we're checking out this Jordanian 24-hour MRE. Customs decided to do me a big fat favor and open this up for me. Although they didn't take any of the food items, they did, however, take the flameless ration heaters and any other Esbit style device that came with this thing. As far as I can tell, they did not touch the mains, and they did not touch the small accessory kit, but they took whatever flameless ration heaters or Esbit stoves that were provided with this ration. Luckily, we have all three courses. We're going to bust into this thing. We're going to have a good time. Just a little quick history on this ration. LSS is Loyalty Support Services. They came on the scene in Jordan right after 2020, when their previous ration manufacturer decided they were going to stop producing rations for the Jordanian military. Now it is Loyalty Support Services. So this is one of their 24-hour ration packs. This is Wheezy. I have no clue how to say that. Uzi. Rice with lamb. That's the main course. And there are other items in here as well. We'll get into that in a second. But if you could do me a big fat favor for all the challenges I go through to get these rations for you guys, if you could hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. And if you're feeling so generous, you can talk to me in the chat. It is always great to hear from you guys. And if you really want to support the channel and my ridiculous bank account draining habit of buying expensive, crazy rations, you could always buy a hat. Hats are cool. They're good. They cover your head when it's raining or when it's sunny outside. And you also get the added benefit of pimping some Ration Nerd on your head or on your body, because we have shirts and shorts and all kinds of other shit on the site. Check it out. Ration Nerd merch is live and available. Now, with all that nonsense out of the way, let's bust into this Uzi lamb with rice ration pack. So, as I stated before, Customs did me dirty and opened this thing up for me, which kind of sucks. They even put a big old cut in the bottom of the bag because they're super gentle with everything, because they give a shit about how I spend my hard-earned American money. So this ration is broken down into 3 modules. So we have a breakfast and a lunch module. And somehow or the other, the dinner module broke free of that. So we have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner module, and we have one accessory. We have one accessory kit that we're going to get into. That is everything in the bag, and there is a really partially destroyed contents list on the back, so I can check that versus what is in the bag and see if Customs stole anything else. I have not broken into these yet, so we will definitely figure it out together. Now, from everything I can find online, this ration contains about 2,500 calories for the day. I will see if each one of these individual packets has calorie information on it, and if it differs from that, I'll definitely post it. We will open up each one of these modules and find out what is contained in each one, and then we're going to eat this stuff. This is going to be a blast. So let's start by breaking into this breakfast module. It looks like the reason why dinner was disconnected, maybe when they went to yank it out of the bag, things just started falling apart. Who knows? Okay, so let's see what you get for breakfast if you're a Jordanian soldier. All right, right out of the gate, we have some natural flower honey in this nice little toothpaste tube. That's pretty cool. I dig it. I really think it's a great idea to give a soldier ways to use stuff like this that isn't super messy, where you can get the vast majority of it out of the container. I always love when they put stuff in little toothpaste tubes, kind of like they do with sweetened condensed milk. This just happens to be honey, so that's always good for breakfast. Then we have some crack. We're just going to get some crack for breakfast. Literally, it says crack, but apparently these are some cheese-flavored cracker biscuits. Not exactly what I would picture going together with honey, but who knows? We have some cheesy crackers. I'm going to move this other accessory kit out of the way over here. And then we have this little pack of olives and pickles. Oh, that just doesn't even look right. That is rather disturbing. Now, I'm not a big fan of olives, so if it just said pickles, I'd probably be into it. We'll have to see exactly how much that smells and or tastes like olives. Very cool idea though. A nice little wet pack of something that's really salty, probably has a good bit of probiotic ingredients in it just from the fermentation process. That is a really cool package. I want to hold that up so you guys can actually see like the bubble action going back and forth in there. So that is definitely really interesting. So we have some olives and pickles. Ugh, but cool. Then we have some tatbilla dressing. I have no clue if I said that correct, but it is ready to eat, whatever the hell tatbilla dressing is inside of this pouch, and I have no clue what you put it on. But we got some tatbilla dressing, and crazy enough, that is coming in at 405 calories inside of this. This has to be like some kind of really oily, fatty dressing or something like that. Sounds neat. Have no clue what it's going to taste like, but there you go. We got some dressing. And then we have some fowl. Okay, and even though it says fowl on the front, it's not F-O-W-L fowl. It's fowl like foul ball fowl. So this is essentially fava beans, tomato paste, salt, and acidity regulator. Excellent. So we have fava beans for breakfast. Apparently that dressing must go with the fava beans. So you have the fact that it's called fowl is just really particularly funny to me. I know, I'm easily amused. What is that? Hey, check it out. We have tortillas, like a big ass pack, 150 gram pack of tortillas. That's a really neat item. That is actually really cool. So here's what we have in the breakfast package. We have some tortillas, some dressing, some fowl, which is basically beans, which that's what's going to make your butt smell like later, is fowl. We have olives and pickles, which I'm not really excited about, but you know what? Everyone's mileage may vary on those type of things. We have some cheesy flavored crackers to go with honey, which is another one of those weird things. It seems like our coffee is over here. We're definitely going to need that so I can continue to use my face, but we will open that up absolutely last. So we're going to set breakfast off to the side and crack into that lunch bag. All right, let's see what is on the lunch menu. Okay, so we have that Uzi sauce with lamb. That's right out of the gate, and that is mostly sauce with just a little chunk of lamb chilling out in the corner of that pack. That's just not great. And oddly enough, that says it's only 144 calories of sauce with lamb. That is very small as far as calories go. Then we have a 200 gram pack of this Uzi rice. This seems like it's some kind of rice dish. It has peas, carrots, onion, and vegetable oil in there, and seasoning. We'll have to check that out. It seems like there's a whole lot of sauce to go with this rice. That's a damn shame. Then we have a pack of what is called Jumbo Mamul. Now that is apparently a date-filled cookie. Not too bad. Nifty little lunch item. It was absolutely smashed during the shipping process. That's a bummer. Then we have a 30 gram pack of roasted peanuts. Not too shabby. A little bit of nuts to go with lunch. And that's it for the lunch bag. So we'll move this very small lunch off to the side, and then we'll get into dinner. And then here we have our dinner package. All right, it looks like we have a couple of kind of dried out dates in a pack. That's okay. These look like they've kind of seen better days, like they lost a vacuum seal or something. We'll check them out, see if they're still good. That's all right. Then we have a package of white rice coming in at 200 grams. And then we have a package of white beans and sauce coming in at 150 grams. I'm really starting to believe that this is a 2,500 calorie menu, just by the size of the mains that are coming with this. So let's get this honking pile of dinner out of the way, and we'll check out that accessory kit. And rolling around loose in the bottom, we have a package of salt. That's never a bad thing. We have a cutlery pack. Everything has that loyalty support services logo on it. Well, there was your spoon. So, yeah. You had a fork and a spoon, now we just have a fork. This is extraordinarily thin. If I bent this in any way, shape, or form, it would absolutely crack. And there's your, well, busted ass spoon. It snapped during the shipping process, so we'll just get that the heck out of the way. What's that? Ooh, that is a Loyalty Support Services Instant Coffee 3-in-1. Absolutely amazeballs. I'm hoping this is awesome, because this is only like the third time I've tried to film just the opening of this accessory kit. I haven't had any coffee, and my face is not wanting to work at all. And in that and in that cutlery set, we also had a napkin of very dubious and thin quality. This thing is, you might get away with wiping your face, but you're never wiping your ass with that unless you want some serious poke through, and nobody likes to poke through. That napkin is super, super thin. And we have 3 tea bags stuffed inside of those janky little cups there. So there's 3 nice tea bags for you. We have 4 packages of sugar. These feel like they're about 5 or 6 grams a piece. Not too shabby. 4 packs of sugar. And whatever this thing is, crunched up under the bottom there. We have a cold drink that was crumpled up in a ball there. A little bit of orange powder. That's the LSS logo as well. And we have a small pack of hand sanitizer crammed in there. Also cool. And we have a little pack of pepper all the way in the bottom. That's pretty neat. And we have 2 of these really busted up cups that did not at all survive the shipping process. I don't think we're going to be trying to use these. Suffice to say, we would just make a messy ass ration table. Great idea. Execution is kind of poor. These little cups are not going to be extremely useful in the field. I guess it beats the hell out of nothing, but they're kind of small. They've already had the shit kicked out of them, so we will just have these chilling on the side over here. Well, my friends, this is everything contained in a Jordanian 24-hour Armed Forces MRE. I'll be right back with some breakfast out onto a tray, and I guess we're going to get started with some fowl. All right, well, we're back, everybody. We've got this fowl that has been boiled furiously for a bit. We got those olives and pickles, ooh. We have these cheese crackers, the tatbilla dressing. We have the tortillas. We have our honey. We have some 3-in-1 coffee and some hot water to go with that, as well as a tea bag. I did look through the contents sheet, and we are missing a couple of items out of here. We're missing 1 painkiller tablet. Imagine that. I don't know why Customs would take that. And we also are missing the flameless ration heater, the heating bag, and a toothpick. So those are the only things we're actually missing out of here are the ration heating components, a painkiller, which is probably like an aspirin or an ibuprofen or something, which is kind of a cool ration item to include in there. And they took my toothpick, but they left me the lamb. It makes absolutely no sense. Doesn't really matter to me. Thanks, Customs, for not doing your job properly, as always. Now let's bust into this. I was reading through the contents, and you're supposed to get 50 grams of bread with each meal, so we're only going to take 50 grams of this tortilla out of here. At least we're going to try anyway. First thing we got to do is get this coffee made up so I can stop having to refilm this particular sequence over and over and over again. I feel like I'm stuck in a goddamn time loop. So let's get this 3-in-1 coffee out into this glass and see what we got going on with some goddamn Jordanian coffee in my morning. All of the coffee, please. I did get a little sniff of that package. That actually smells pretty good. Doesn't look like there's a lot of coffee in there. It looks more like there's a hell of a lot of creamer, but it does have a really nice smell. We'll check out this tea bag. Pure Ceylon tea, packed in Sri Lanka. No string for you, buddy. You just get a tea bag, so we'll chuck that in the glass and get your pour on in the morning. And we will throw 1 pack of that sugar in that tea just to be cheeky. All right, so we're going to go straight for the main, get that coffee powder out of the way. This is definitely nice and hot. There is not a lot here, so we're going to squeeze every last available drop of this fowl out onto the tray. It's kind of interesting. What in the hell am I looking at? This is like bean baby food. What is going on here? Oh, poor Jordanians. Oh man, it has a really savory, kind of cheesy smell to it. Ooh, that's nice and, oh, it's like hot bean pudding for breakfast. What in the actual fuck am I looking at here? Okay, that looks like a baby just shat on my tray. That is very interesting. Let's check out these pickles and olives. This kind of scares me. I am not a big fan of olives, so this will certainly not be a fair representation of this ration item because I am already biased. I really don't like olives. So I know some of you may hate me for that, but you know what? We all have our own taste buds, and that's what I was born with, and this packaging is not working out very well. So we'll get our knife out and make a stinky mess of it. Oh, with the juice. Oh. All right, let's see what this is all about. It's just a real small amount. It doesn't even look like olives. It really just looks like pickled cabbage. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe these are little chunks of some kind of olive I'm unaware of. but it just looks like pickled cabbage and pickles. Maybe I'll get lucky and it doesn't taste like olives. That would be a plus for me. So that's definitely different. It's not a whole lot there. Apparently this is just probably for, wow, there is an olive in there, damn it. Apparently this is just for flavoring. A little bit of pickled cabbage action. I don't even know how to go about putting that out on the tray. I guess maybe we'll just put some on the side over by the baby poop beans over here. I mean, I'm trying really hard not to pick fun at this ration because it was really, really hard to get this. And I understand there's some cultural differences about the food and the way that people eat that I'm just not going to understand because I'm not from there. But that still looks like baby shit. And that's pretty disgusting for a breakfast item as far as I'm concerned. And I don't know what in the fuck I'm doing with that honey unless I'm putting it on cheesy crackers, but we'll see. Let's get a little bit of this dressing here. If I could get the damn package open. There we go. All right. So I guess we're going to have to borrow another nation's spoon here. I guess Russia wouldn't mind helping out. I want to get a little taste of this just to see. Oh, that's kind of watery and spooky. I was expecting something a little thicker. This did come in the breakfast package. Take a look at that. Just kind of looks like some dirty water action. I guess we'll get a taste of this and see. The smell is very vinegary and pungent. Let's get a taste of it and see what that's all about. Whoa. Oh, that is straight like salt and a little bit of that's like salt and pickle flavor. Oh, what am I doing to myself? I really should have had that coffee first. Son of a bitch. That's kind of rough. It literally tastes extraordinarily like a salted pickle brine. Not sure what the actual contents of this are. It says there's bell pepper, chili pepper, lemon, salt, and vegetable oil, garlic, and citric acid. This does not taste at all like lemons. It tastes very vinegary to me. Maybe, well, I did mix it up pretty good, but maybe I didn't mix it well enough. It's almost like, I don't know. I would really, honestly, I don't even taste lemon in there. It really just tastes like some kind of, almost like a vinaigrette dressing. Not actually great. Not the best. We're going to try it again just because that's what we do, but wow, that was kind of nasty. Well, let's get this coffee mixed up because my brain is barely functional. This coffee is really going to help me out. At least I hope it's going to. I hope it's real coffee. I hope it actually tastes good. I usually like 3-in-1s. Since there's no tea bag, we're going to have to give a little steep assistance over here. And we needed to mix that sugar in so we can do a little double duty. Give a little steep to that stringless tea bag and stir that sugar into the tea, which I'm sure is sacrilege to somebody, but I don't care because it's my tea and I'll drink it how I want. All right, this is starting out to be a day where I'm not real sure what in the hell I'm doing with this hobby anymore. So we're going to move this honey out of the way. I don't want to get my crackers soaking in some weird olive juice. So I'm going to get these crackers out onto the tray, and they feel like they are just like kind of cracker dust. Hopefully we get some whole crackers in here. Looks like these were a stack. Actually, some of them are still intact. They're very dusty, though. Maybe we could just drag some of that dust over into this baby shit we're having for breakfast. And, of course, we have to figure out how many tortillas there are so we can break them down and have a roughly 50-gram portion with each meal. Oh, excellent. These are individual tortillas, not too shabby. That is a good-looking stack of tortillas. They smell fresh. They look really good. So we have 6 tortillas, so that makes sense. We get 2 tortillas per meal. Break those right off of there. Get our tortillas laid out somewhere where they're not going to get saturated in that dressing or that nasty juice. We'll put these away for later. Hey, there's an oxygen absorber chilling in there. I really do like these tortillas. I'm surprised they stayed fresh. They weren't vacuum sealed or anything. They do have a Ziploc so you can keep them fresh in between meals. That is always a great idea. And we will start at the beginning where I should have started. It's the 3rd time I've tried to record this particular sentence. I need to get that coffee in my face so I can get fucking functional this morning because I'm having a really difficult time recording this video because I haven't had my coffee yet. So together we're going to give this little sniff. Actually smells pretty decent. Doesn't smell very strong, but it does smell good. Let's get a taste. You know what? That is not bad. It has a really nice, rich coffee flavor, a little bit of acidity, very creamy, only mildly sweet. I'll take it. That is a decent cup of morning coffee. Actually, the coffee aftertaste on that is absolutely fabulous. That is an excellent 3-in-1 coffee. I really wish they would have put more than one of these in the ration, but you get what you get. So at least our morning coffee is good, even if our breakfast is a bit on the janky side. So I guess there's nothing else for it. I'm not sure what the hell I'm doing with that or that, but I'm going to try a little nibble of this baby poo beans here. This is very, very finely pureed bean paste. So take a look at that. There's not a whole lot to look at. It's really just like bean baby food. Let's give it a try. And that actually doesn't taste too bad. Has a little bit of a tomatoey undertone to it. The texture is certainly not great. I mean, this would be something that would be fast and easy to eat, but I don't know why you would want to. Like, you'd have to be extraordinarily hungry for this to be interesting in any way, shape, or form. A little bit of a garlicky bite to it. If this was just seasoned beans, I would be much more happy with it, but it being this bean paste is certainly really weird for me. Let's give one of these crackers a little nibble. These things have definitely seen better days. A couple of the crackers have just completely turned to dust and coated everybody with a fine coating of cracker dust. Let's check out these cheesy crackers. You know, and oddly enough, those crackers are just fine. They taste nothing like cheese, which is a really positive thing, considering we have all that honey, and we could put some of that honey in the tea. But I was really hoping to find an item that the honey would pair well with. I'm not seeing it yet, but let's just get a couple of these crackers, see if we can get our morning caloric intake of bean baby food. I don't know. Let's check it out with the crackers. It's just a really odd texture. The flavor is just okay. It's really like a tomatoey bean paste with a lot of garlic. It's really a texture thing. It's just overly smooth, super pureed. This has got to be one of those things you grow up with, because if you don't grow up with it, you're probably not going to like this. I know I certainly am not crazy about it. It's just kind of okay, like in the worst way, just kind of okay. Like if I were starving on a desert island, I might be appreciative of having this. As it stands, the amount of money that I paid for this ration, I'm just a little bit disappointed at this point. And the fact that Customs decided to rifle their stinky paws in it. Love you guys. Anyway, back to this baby shit. Oh, that's just kind of rough. Let's try, see if we can get a little bit of this. Oh man, that'll work. Here we go. They're a little bit on the thin side, but let's see if maybe scooping it up with a tortilla makes it any better. Like a little bean burrito action for breakfast? Probably not. That is just not great. It's really unfortunate. Maybe, you know what? It already kind of sucks. So we're going to squirt some of that dressing on there. Why not? It can't make it any worse than it already is. And we'll move this out of the way. We'll try a piece of this, what looks like pickled cabbage to me. Get a couple bites of that, just to say we did. Hopefully it doesn't taste too strong of olives. Not a big fan, as you know, but let's just check it out. It really seems like this morning regimen is extraordinarily salt heavy. That is a very heavily salted pickling brine, and it just made that cabbage taste like nothing but salt and with a background taste of olives, which I already am not crazy about. That's a no-go for me. Even if I were starving, I think I would try to use that as bait, maybe to catch a fish or something. But let's see if we can mix some of this dressing up with this fowl and see if that brings any life to this bean paste. Now, oddly enough, the bean paste by itself, not that great. The dressing by itself, completely not great. But when you add these two things together, oddly enough, squirt, squirt. Oddly enough, the two flavors combined work pretty well together, especially when you dip that tortilla in there. We'll come back, we'll get a little cracker action. And this is just making it worse. This is making it more like bean soup than anything. I don't know. It's just a very, very strange breakfast item. Maybe they would just suck it straight out of the pack or pour it right on their tortillas. I have no clue. This is a pretty messy breakfast. I don't know how exactly you're supposed to eat this. I guess just right out of the pack, you pour your dressing in and go to town on it, maybe scooping it out with some tortillas. Oof, it's a bit rough. Yeah, that dressing and this bean puree were absolutely made for each other. Those two flavors combined actually make this enjoyable from a taste perspective. Certainly not from a texture perspective. It's still just way too pureed, but at least it tastes better now. That stuff just tastes like salty ass. We're not having any more of that. Let's try some of these crackers with our bean puree. Even the crackers are much better with the bean puree, with that dressing added. Definitely changes the entire flavor. It's very hard to describe. It's almost like a really soft bean paste with a really strong, like very vinaigrette dressing mixed in with the beans. The two flavors together, the garlic and the salty, like briny taste of that, go really well together in the beans, but separately, that was pretty nasty. This was just mediocre, almost going to like bad, but mix the two together and things actually got, well, kind of doable. I mean, I would never ever choose to have items like this for breakfast unless I was like at the rock bottom of my pantry and I was starving to death. I guess this works. It's nutrition. It's just not very enjoyable, at least to me. Maybe if you're from Jordan, this is a great breakfast. As far as I'm concerned, this is just a bit batshit. It's an odd, weird breakfast combination here. My crackers are all falling to pieces, getting stuck in my bean pudding. Very, very strange. The crackers are very soft and salty, so they do help with the bean pudding a bit, but they're not the perfect combination for this. Oh, I guess I had to clean my fork off. I really do absolutely enjoy eating foreign rations for all kinds of reasons, just for the experience, just for the fun of seeing what other countries put in a bag or a box for their soldiers. This is by far one of the strangest rations I have ever reviewed. I'm having a good time with it, although I'm feeling like I'm not going to be very satisfied as far as food goes today, but that's okay. This actually does have 2,504 calories in this ration, which is plenty enough calories for me. I just might not be really happy about it by the end of the day, but you never know. Lunch could turn things around. Oh, these crackers are so soft, they just fall apart. And thankfully, that is the last bite of my breakfast fowl on a cracker. Goodbye. Oh, let me clear that palate with some of this actually really good coffee. That is absolutely the highlight of breakfast, I assure you. So while we have a few crackers left, let's check out some of this honey. We might even throw some in the tea, depending on how that sugar did with that tea over there. So let's just check this honey out all by itself. Gonna have to borrow that Russian spoon again. Doesn't feel or seem like it's crystallized at all. No, it's still very much a liquid. It's a good looking honey. See what I mean? It's not bad looking. It's yellow and it's gooey. It's honey. Let's taste it. That is a nice natural tasting honey. Very obviously not raw honey, which is kind of a bummer, but it is decent. It's passable. It has a decent flavor. To be quite honest with you, it has a very generic honey flavor. Like I couldn't begin to tell you. It says wildflower honey, but it certainly doesn't taste like it. It doesn't have any flavor profiles to it, to be fair. It doesn't taste like wildflower honey. It doesn't taste like clover honey. It's definitely been refined and processed. I'd be surprised if it was 100% natural honey. It's not bad. It just has a very generically sweet, very generic honey flavor, if that makes any sense. If it doesn't, I apologize, but explaining the way things taste isn't always the easiest thing to do, especially at this time of the morning. All right, let's try some of that honey on one of these super crummy crackers. All right, check that out. Shouldn't be too bad. They don't really taste like cheese, which is kind of crazy. These crackers and honey combined with that coffee and some tortillas is probably all I would bother to have for breakfast out of this ration. If I wasn't taste testing it, if I knew what I was getting into, the rest of the items would just be kind of chilling in my bag. And I'd be sitting here happily drinking some coffee, some tea, eating some crackers with honey, chewing on some tortillas, and handing out the rest of this stuff to other people that were obviously hungrier than I am. Trying to get as many of those cracker pieces as I can so I can just get a little dab of honey on them. This is actually a really nice flavor combination. These really soft crackers and the honey, it's actually really good. And while it's sitting there staring at me, wondering why I haven't touched it yet, let's check out that nice glass of Ceylon tea. Let's give that a little sniff check. It actually has a really nice smell. That is a very, very powerful tea. That actually tastes great. I'll tell you what I am going to do. That's a really quality cup of tea. I really like that. I am going to take some of this honey and I am going to squish it on a tortilla because I don't know what the hell else to do with it. And we'll put a couple drops in that tea just for fun. We'll save just a little for another glass of tea later, because that is certainly where it's at with this honey. Give that a little mix. Oh, I just burped up some of that dressing. Oh, that was so nasty. Oh, I need something to follow that up. Maybe one of these crackers and honey will do it, or maybe both of them. Then I'm just going to kind of smear this honey around on this tortilla and just kind of roll it up, have like a little sweet tortilla action, and that's breakfast. Well, everybody, that was breakfast. That was interesting, disappointing, disturbing, and fun. all at the same time. I'm really glad you joined me. And I'll be back in about 3 or 4 hours where we'll sit down and we'll have some lunch. Maybe at lunchtime we won't be so goddamn disturbed. But breakfast was just a little disturbing. I'll see you in a few hours. All right, and welcome back to lunch, everybody. I've got to say that after my breakfast experience this morning, I'm not necessarily looking forward to the remainder of this ration. We're going to keep powering through it. We're going to get into some lunch, obviously. We've got that orange powder drink we're going to try out. We have some tea. We're going to grab 2 tortillas out of our pack. We have that uzi rice and uzi sauce with lamb. We also have our peanuts and this nice little cookie over here. We're also going to throw some honey in that tea. Why not? We have it. So let's start at the beginning by getting these drinks made up. There is a nice little tear notch in the side here, which is awesome. I just brought out the small glass because there's such a small amount of this drink powder in here. I can't imagine this making more than a couple hundred mils. And this is fortified with vitamin C, which shouldn't be too hard to pull off with an orange drink. It looks pretty... fuck it, we'll put a little bit too much... Maybe we put a little bit too much water in there, but that's completely okay. And we're going to grab this tea bag. Hey, this one's got a string. That's very nice. And we'll get the rest of this honey, squirt it out into that tea. That ought to make it pretty yummy. Now, this was pretty good tea, even with just a single pack of sugar. I can't imagine that adding this honey is going to do anything but make it even better. All of the bee vomit, please. Yes. And we'll give this orange drink a little swizz while we allow that tea bag to do its steeping thing. Let's slide these off to the side so we can check out these nuts. Well, at least they're salted. That's not a lot of nuts, but at least they're salted and roasted. Let's see what this little smashed date cookie is all about. Oh, it really is smashed. Oh, somebody sat on this sucker. Oh, it's like dusty. Looks like kind of reminds me of a big-ass Fig Newton that somebody kicked the shit out of. That's a real shame. Maybe they might want to think putting that in better packaging. And let's set that sauce with lamb, which really should be sauce with lamb, because I have a feeling there's only one little chunk of meat in there, so it's mostly sauce with some lamb, not lamb with sauce. But we'll get this rice out onto the tray, see what that looks like. Oh, that just fell out of there. Making a mess, making a mess. And these portions being pretty small, I'm going to try to make sure I get every last grain of rice out of this bag. Ooh, that's got a really powerful, pungent smell to it. Now, I did boil these for 9 or 10 minutes. This is so silly. That silly stuff. So yeah, this has a very pungent smell. I actually really can't place it. Let me get this up to my nose and try to give you an idea of what this smells like. Now, I'm not even going to lie. I had to defer to the packaging to try to figure out, to decipher what the hell my nose was even trying to tell me. Normally, I don't revert to the packaging. I just kind of taste it, smell it, and just judge it the way that it is. But this has such a strange, odd, savory smell. Kind of somewhere between like perfume and armpits. That's a really weird combo, so just stick with me here. The actual seasonings that are in this rice are salt, garlic, curry, turmeric, black pepper, cinnamon, nutmeg, clove, ginger, and chicken stock. So there are quite a few ingredients going on, and you can imagine why that was messing up my nose. Probably something about that cinnamon and nutmeg just really messing with my nose, giving it kind of a perfumey type smell, and then you throw all that other shit in there, made it smell like armpits. So that definitely has a really odd smell. Not a combination of seasonings I would ever use in my home all together at the same time to season some rice, but we will definitely give it a day in court. I've had some things I thought were really strange that turned out to be great. So let's check out this uzi sauce with lamb. And we're just going to go ahead and pour it all over the place. And we're going to just sauce the shit out of that rice because I have a feeling it's going to need it. And that's all the lamb you get. Not a lot of lamb to be had in there. Just like one little chunk that kind of broke up. I guess not bad, but certainly not a portion of meat that I was looking for. So maybe I should check out what I'm going to potentially wash a foul taste out of my mouth with, let's check out this orange drink just for a second to see what this is going to be like when I'm running screaming for it. Yeah, that definitely would have been better with just 200 mils. There's probably about 350 in there. It tastes like really weak Kool-Aid. That's on me, not on them. The print on the packaging was super tiny, like magnifying glass, or like take a picture of it and blow it up tiny. No. So I just made it. It looked like it was going to mix up a lot stronger than it did, at least flavor-wise. That's very weak. Probably would have been pretty tasty, kind of like an orange Kool-Aid or a Tang, but that is really weak at this point. I did that. That's my screw up. It's the only cold drink we have, so I kind of screwed the pooch on that. But at least we have the tea, which I did mix, and we will get a sip of that tea with the honey added. Yes, that is very good with the honey added. These two things will certainly get any foul taste out of my mouth. Maybe that's kind of shitty. I shouldn't say that off the bat. Maybe this is going to be absolutely amazing, and I could be wrong. Generally, putting things like cinnamon and nutmeg together with like garlic certainly isn't for my flavor palette, but I am going to dive in and give it a try. So in the rice, we have some peas and carrots and onions, and of course a whole bunch of rice. And in the sauce, really the only thing I saw in the sauce was just the sauce itself, with maybe about 2.5 or 3 ounces of lamb. So not a whole lot of meat at all. But we're going to get a bite of the rice and the sauce all together. We'll leave the meat for later. I really want to figure out if this flavor combination is going to work for me at all. Let's get it in the face and find out. But before we do that, let's get it in your face and on my hands, because that's what we do. And so you guys can take a big old look at that first bite I'm getting ready to have. So let's get that in the face, question mark. That is definitely a very different flavor. The one thing I can say is that flavor combination together is not bad. The aftertaste, however, remember that whole armpit smell I was trying to like explain to you guys? So that is the aftertaste of this, which is pretty horrible. Like if you're eating something and it tastes like armpits on the aftertaste, I don't know about that. This is definitely a cultural seasoning that you would grow up with and probably appreciate. If you grew up with the aftertaste of armpits in your food, I'm sorry. Doesn't necessarily mean I have to like it. Also doesn't necessarily mean it's bad either. It's just different to me. I'm going to keep on eating it and dealing with the armpit aftertaste and see if my taste buds can adjust. So here we go with bite number 2. I did get a little piece of the lamb that time, and I have to admit, I'm going to grab this lamb out of here by itself so you can take a look at that. It is a real shame there's not more lamb in this dish, because that was perfectly tender, cooked really well. The sauce that this lamb is cooked in is almost like a super watery tomato sauce with curry. The lamb itself has a really nice flavor. That's why I'm going to take this big old bite of it by itself. That lamb is absolutely amazing. Very soft, extremely tender, a little bit salty, but you know what? It was cooked perfectly in this sauce, in that retort pouch. That is an amazing chunk of lamb. It is a damn shame there's not more lamb in that pouch. That lamb is amazing. If there were more of that meat, it might actually turn this armpit rice around. It's kind of crazy about how when you stack certain seasonings together, they will literally make a whole new flavor. Like it tastes like armpit smell. It is kind of the weirdest thing. Taste buds are really fickle things anyway. I know people hate on me for not liking seafood and all that, but I'm pretty open-minded. I'll try just about anything, as evidenced in some of my previous videos, but this still has that armpit aftertaste. We're in like bite number 4. I'm going to keep working through it. We're going to see what we can, how much we can abuse my taste buds today. Breakfast was definitely an abuse of my taste buds. And that armpit aftertaste is pretty rough. Like, no bullshit. That armpit aftertaste is starting to get just a little disturbing. The rice is cooked well, a little bit on the mushy side. I do like the vegetables and everything that are in there, and the rice did separate well. Of course, I did smash it all up before I boiled it in the pouch, but the rice in and of itself is not too bad. It's just the flavor profile that I'm not really accustomed to at all in any way, shape, or form. And that aftertaste of like armpits, and then you get a little extra clove in some bites. It's like stinky armpits that are trying to be masked by clove oil. That's just really, really odd. Pressing on. At least it's not seafood. I mean, it could be worse. It could be seafood. That taste just persists. I was going to try to break up the monotony of this flavor by having some peanuts, but I don't want to eat something like a roasted salted peanut and screw up my taste buds any more than I already am. because then I'd have to like reacclimate to this taste, and I don't want to. Quite honestly, this is definitely a cultural or regional taste profile that I'm just not on board with. My taste buds are fighting me every step of the way. It's not horrible, it's just not great. The amount of meat in this is pretty sad, and there's not even a whole lot of vegetables to speak of. It's really extraordinarily basic and minimalist as far as the quantity of food that you get in this ration. Now, I understand if it's a hot desert-like environment, you may not want to eat extraordinarily heavy, but I still think for an active military soldier, 2,500 calories might be a little on the light side. So having a variety of light meals and then snacks to go with it to bolster the calorie content to match the physical activity that a soldier is going to undertake in a day would probably be a really good idea. And I completely forgot to get my tortillas out. I'm so mesmerized by the armpit aftertaste that tortillas are just an afterthought. Maybe that will help. Maybe the tortillas will help like cut the armpit flavor. And I don't say that trying to be disrespectful. I'm just being honest about what the flavor is to me. Like, no hate to anybody that is Jordanian or knows anybody in Jordan. I'm sure there's lots of cool Jordanians out there, but their rations, they kind of suck. And I'm sorry that Jordanian soldiers have to deal with this relatively poor ration, in my opinion. I could be totally wrong, but as far as just like feeding a normal person for a day, the quantity is fine. For like your normal, standard, average civilian, 2,500 calories is absolutely plenty. But the quality of this food, I like baby shit for breakfast, it's just not where it's at. This is not an awesome flavor profile, at least not to me. It's not very satisfying. It's kind of mushy. The meat is very soft and tender, which you would want, but there's not much in the way of texture throughout the rest of it. We're going to try to put some of this on a tortilla, because one thing I can say is the tortillas are actually pretty rocking. These tortillas are great. So we're going to just spoon some of this onto a tortilla. So maybe it'll cut some of the flavor profile that I'm not really in love with in this thing. So we're making like a little Jordanian burrito over here. Maybe that's what I'll name the video, the Jordanian burrito. And yeah, we're going to make a armpit flavored burrito going on here. So we're going to roll with a little Jordanian burrito action and check that out. We're going to leave him. No, we're not going to dip it in the sauce. Hell with that sauce. No, that's absolutely the way to do it. Well, maybe not. The mild taste of that flour tortilla definitely helps to cut down on some of the seasoning used in the rice. It's just not great. Again, not a great pair for this. Something like a pita bread will be a whole lot better with a dish like this. A flatbread, like a tortilla, is just kind of okay. Making a armpit burrito, not necessarily where it's at. And we are down to the last bite of this armpit juice sauce. I am glad to see this lunch go. It is a shame I did not get more lamb in this thing, because the lamb was amazing. The rest of it, just kind of a shit show, if I'm being honest. There could be a whole lot of cultural barriers I'm just not able to cross to get my taste buds behind this. But as far as portion size and overall satisfaction with the food, seriously low for me. Maybe for a Jordanian, this would be absolutely amazing. But for me, armpits are not on the menu. And this is a questioning my life choices spoon drop. Oh, we still have a tortilla left. I might munch on it. We're just going to fold them up and send them over to the side here. We're definitely going to try some of these peanuts. I hope these have a normal flavor profile to them. I could really use that. But these just look like roasted salted peanuts. Let's pop those in the face and see what they're all about. And those are some pretty decent roasted peanuts. It's kind of hard to screw up peanuts if you roast them and salt them, and that's exactly what they did. The salt kind of fell off of them, so they didn't use a powdered salt. They still used a granulated salt, but that's okay. If you need a little salt hit, you can just grab some on the end of your finger, or just tip the pack back and nom all that salt right out of there. Those peanuts are pretty decent, thank goodness. And after putting all those nuts in my mouth, you know I need something to drink. So we'll check out again this nice weak orange drink. And that probably would have been pretty decent if I would have mixed it up with just about that much water in the glass. But I kind of screwed the pooch on that. All in all, that's a really tiny drink for such a hot environment. We're going to move on to this date cookie, which a lot of the outside breading had. Oh, look at that. It's got a nice little flower in the top. That's kind of cool. Let me see if I can show that to you without getting it all over my face. That is a pretty decent looking cookie right there. It's a shame that it looks like it got sat on and just smashed up and bashed up. That is a big chewy date cookie right there. Not too bad. Let's get a bite of that and see what that's bringing to the lunch plate, because something's got to rescue this motherfucker. God. And that cookie is absolutely excellent. I'm really glad I got a chance to try that. That might be worth the cost of the ration. That has an amazing flavor. Very buttery. There's got to be some either real butter or shortening in that cookie coating. The dates inside of there are absolutely perfect. Soft, chewy, mildly sweet. Combines really well with the actual cookie, which, well, a lot of that came off, but it is what it is. That is pretty amazing. I would just take a bag full of those. To hell with the rest of it. You can keep your damn rice and lamb. Just give me a whole bunch of these cookies and some drinks and I'll be just fine. This cookie is badass. It's funny how you find crazy little things like this that are just absolutely excellent. Like completely epic. Like just can't find something that tastes this good laying around in your regular store. But you get a military ration from a country like Jordan, and here you go with this crazy, yummy cookie that you just can't find, but the rest of it, at this point, I'm calling foul on this, especially how much this fucker cost me to get in the country, and all I'm getting so far that I'm really excited about is a cookie. All right, guys. Well, that was lunch. Aside from the cookie, I can certainly say I'm extraordinarily disappointed with lunch. Hopefully I don't bring that mood with me into dinner. I can't make any guarantees. I'm probably going to sit here and nom on that tortilla. Just kind of drown myself in my own sorrow that I paid this much money for this ration. But hey, what do I know? I'm not from Jordan. I'm just a goofball eating rations. And to that effect, we'll be back in 3 or 4 hours where we'll do dinner. In the meantime, I'm going to nom on that tortilla just because it's here. I'll finish up my orange drink and my tea, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, and welcome back to dinner, everyone. I'm really glad you're here. I'm not so sure that I'm glad I'm here. This ration has not at all been my favorite. It has been a lot of fun to see what a Jordanian soldier eats in a day. So let's just crack into this dinner and get it rocking along. We've got the rest of the ration out on the table here. We've got a couple of dates. We have white beans with sauce and some white rice. And we have our last 2 remaining tortillas. So let's start at the beginning. Make up that tea. And we're going to sweeten it up with 2 packs of that diabetes powder. And we'll check out these dates. They don't look like they were vacuum sealed very well, but they were vacuum sealed. They look a little dry and crusty. We will definitely figure it out though. Not sticky, or at least seemingly not sticky. They smell pretty good. They smell like a date. Not too shabby. They don't look very attractive at all. So we're going to start with the rice. And as usual, these were boiled furiously for a while. No boil footage for you. That's just too much nonsense for me. And we'll get this rice out of here. Try to remember that the last rice just kind of fell out of the pack on me. And that's doing about the same thing. So we have a 250 gram portion of white rice. That kind of has a funky packaging smell to it. Let's get a, yeah, this is good stuff right here. So this rice, I did smash it up in the package before I boiled it. It does have like a plasticky kind of smell to it. Let's take a bite of this and see what that plasticky smell is all about. Very plain white rice. The plasticky smell does not translate into a taste, thank goodness. So let's see what these white beans with sauce are all about. Now these do have white beans, onion, tomato paste, non-hydrogenated vegetable oil, garlic, salt, black pepper, coriander, and chicken stock. That sounds a whole lot more reasonable than the lunchtime seasoning variation. So let's get these out and stick those, squish, stick this over the rice. Hopefully this isn't more bean paste. That would really suck. Ah, there we go. It's more like bean soup. There's barely any whole beans in here. I don't know what the fascination with smashed up like baby shit beans is, but they certainly have it. So we're gonna, ooh, nice and hot. Ooh, this is looking a lot like breakfast, just a little runnier. Oh, that's amazing. And we'll grab our tortillas, which, you know, the tortillas and the cookie are probably my favorite part of the ration. Funny, these tortillas are made in Turkey, which is kind of cool. Give this tea a little steep, since it's also going to be one of the major flavor engines on the table. I mean, those figs will probably taste pretty good. They just don't look great. As you can see, I'm chilling out on the corner of my tray, looking like a small mammal came by and just relieved itself in the corner of my tray. Not cool. I'm going to try not to think about that as I press on to the main, which kind of looks like somebody got sick on my tray. So this is not exactly a sexy looking tray of food. If you ask this guy, it's not what I would lay out for guests, or anybody for that matter. But let's rock into this more pasty bean mess. So let's get in here and see what we can see, which is really not a whole lot. I mean, you have this bean paste, which says it's made of white beans and seasoning. We do have a couple pieces of beans in there, but it's mainly just a paste. So I'm just kind of inclined to mix it all up with the rice, because that rice is extremely plain and unseasoned. And I may actually bring in the salt and pepper on this, since the flavor profile is probably a little closer to what I'm accustomed to. Adding salt and pepper to it isn't going to help accentuate any flavors I'm not very fond of. But first, we'll get a bite and see what it's like without salt and pepper. Maybe I'll be really surprised. And this will be one of those like knock your socks off kind of dishes. This looks more like a side item to me than a main, but you know, hey, I'm from the United States. We eat differently. I'm trying to keep that in mind. But I can't imagine anybody in any country being really excited about getting one of these rations. And I think feeding a soldier good, solid, decent food is probably a great idea. Considering you're asking them to fight and potentially die for their country, at least feed them like a fucking human being. But anyway, let's get into this and let's get a bite of this, well, big pasty mess, because that's basically what it is. So let's let you guys get the first eyeballs on that. Yep, that's where it's at. It's nice and hot, so we will get a bite of that and see what that's bringing to dinner. Oh, and that's just mushy and bland as hell. That really just tastes like mushy beans and mushy rice. So I have no problem bringing the salt and pepper into this. Maybe it'll breathe some life back into this really bland dinner main. I mean, this is extraordinarily bland. It's beyond comprehension that people would want to eat this much really bland food in a day and this many beans in a day. Ooh, just, it breaks my heart seeing a perfectly good military ration, all this retort technology and packaging technology go to waste on, well, some really shabby, bare bones, basic bitch kind of food, which is exactly what this is. All right, well, we got that salt and pepper all nice and mixed in. So let's try this with some salt and pepper. Maybe it'll rescue this. I'm not really sure. It was extraordinarily bland on that first bite and really boring. Let's see if the salt and pepper rescues this stuff. No, it just tastes kind of like salty bean and rice mush. Not very interesting. I mean, I guess it would be pretty filling, but at only 2,500 calories, if you're really moving that ass during the course of a day, totally not going to be enough to keep you up and moving. I really think the caloric content of this ration would see soldiers losing a hell of a lot of body weight. There's just not enough calories in this for an active soldier, and it's not all that great. So there's not much here to keep a soldier interested and coming back for more. They would certainly be looking for other sources of sustenance and probably any other source of something flavorful to eat. Again, I'm going to try to like make this into some kind of rice and bean burrito, but I mean, this isn't a Mexican ration. This is a Jordanian ration. I'm not sure they do burritos in Jordan. I could be wrong. They probably do. Maybe they don't. Who knows? All I know is this ration has just been a real disappointment so far. So I'm going to sit here and nom on this rice and bean burrito out of a Jordanian ration. It's like I'm going to Taco Bell. You know, it's kind of funny. This thing really tastes like the cheapest vegan option on the Taco Bell menu, which if I had some like fire sauce and sour cream to go with this, it might not be too bad, but it's just super plain, kind of depressing. I certainly would not want to be a soldier and be stuck with this stuff to eat for a day. I'd be pretty pissed, and I wouldn't be that motivated to do my best for you. I'm really glad that I'm getting down to the end of this main. I don't know how much more of this bland, mushy shit I could put up with. And thank goodness we are coming down to the last bite of this really depressing main of essentially beans and rice. This bite's for you. My bite? Your bite? No? For real? No? Okay, fine. I guess I'll eat it. Oh, and this is just a do better spoon drop. Like, really? Fucking do better. God. Oh, I don't know about that tortilla. Maybe I'll munch on it just because it's there. But you know what? I was going to dive right into those figs, but let me clear that bland, salty mess out of my mouth with some of this pretty decent tea. And that really is a nice quality tea. Let's get into the very last item. These figs that are not looking all that great. So these guys have seen better days. That's what I'm getting ready to stick in my face. I guess it doesn't look that bad. It's just still a little disturbing. There's probably a big fat pit in here. Yep, there it is. There's the pit right there so we don't break our teeth. Let's try that gooey, sugary date. I know these things are fibrous and they do help you move your bowels and everything, but that is probably the least sweet date I have ever put in my face. Now, I know they're not sugared or anything like that, so they're not going to be crazy sweet, but man, that is barely at all sweet. Just very fibrous and thick and gooey in its texture. As far as sweetness goes, it's just not there. That's a fucking depressing date. Like, seriously, that is really... let's just bite into this one. Maybe this one will taste better. I don't know. No, this must have been like a poor harvest of dates, because that is just not sweet at all. Just fibrous and mushy. Wow. Do better. That do better spoon drop was like right on point. Well, this is mildly depressing. Last thing on the list we have to try out is this hand sanitizer gel from Loyalty Support Services. So we have some hand sanitizer action. Let's clean up the digits together. And that's just your standard hand sanitizer gel. Nothing wrong with that. Smells like alcohol. It's a little sticky and tacky until it dries, but it'll clean up your hands, which isn't a bad gig. Well, guys, that was dinner. This has been a pretty sad affair. I don't have a whole lot to say, at least at the end of this meal, simply because I've been shitting on this ration the entire time I was reviewing it, and I think it deserves it. Well, thank you guys for joining me here on Ration Nerd, where apparently we spend ludicrous amounts of money bringing rations in from foreign countries just so we can shit all over them on video. That's not really the premise of the channel, but that's pretty much what I feel like I did with this ration. I can't help it. I just have my taste buds to work with, nobody else's, so it's just me here at this table and you watching, and all I've got is honesty. I have to say I was not very happy with this ration. I can't imagine a Jordanian soldier being that excited about this ration in any way, shape, or form. There was too much soft baby poop beans going on in here, not enough meat. Some of the side items were okay, but all the mains were just fucking hurting, like that baby shit for breakfast and then more baby shit for dinner. Just not my thing. But all things considered, this was still a good time. It's still really fun to see what is in a military ration from a foreign country and experience some of that food. And if you want to get your mouth on something from a foreign country, you know what you could do for me. You could hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, and you could tell me how horrible of a person I am for shitting all over this ration in the chat, where it's always great to hear from you guys. And until next time, you know how this shit goes. If you can find something cooler than this Jordanian 24-hour wheezy rice with lamb ration to put in your face hole, which really isn't going to be fucking hard because this thing was pretty bad, you absolutely know what to do. Eat 'em up.